In chapter 2, Isaiah introduces us to the people he's prophesying of. It turns out it's his own covenant people in the last days. In verse 5, he begins describing them. O house of Jacob, come ye, for ye have all gone astray, every one to his wicked ways. You won't find that in the Bible. It's only in the Book of Mormon translation. And once again, the Book of Mormon corrects the errors in the King James Version. But here, not only does the Lord tell us whom he's speaking of, the covenant people, but he also says that they have all gone astray. This is significant, but how can it be true? In the last days, the Lord's covenant people have the fullness of the gospel. They have the priesthood and holy ordinances, and they have prophets and apostles of the Lord Jesus Christ. How can it be that all have gone astray? The Lord himself explains this. And my vineyard is the house of Israel, and my vineyard has become corrupted every whit. And there is none which doeth good, save it be a few. And they err in many instances because of priestcrafts, all having corrupt minds. If we still doubt that the Lord is speaking of his covenant people, he repeats this in the Book of Mormon. They wear stiff necks and high heads, yea, and because of pride and wickedness and abominations and whoredoms, they have all gone astray, save it be a few, who are the humble followers of Christ. Nevertheless, they are led that in many instances they do err because they are taught by the precepts of men. Even the humble followers of Christ in many instances do err by following the precepts of men. Essentially, in the last days, we'll be running out of time. The Lord will have a righteous people to build up Zion, and he cannot look upon sin with the least degree of allowance. Now, this may seem like an impossible standard, but the Lord himself says that these people can and will be perfected. And they shall be made perfect, notwithstanding their blindness, if they will hearken unto the messenger, the Lord's servant. If we follow the Lord's prophet in all things, we can be made perfect before Christ comes again. But apparently, many will fall short, because in the very next verse, here in chapter 2, Isaiah says that the Lord will forsake his people, because so many of them follow the ways of the world. Therefore, O Lord, thou hast forsaken thy people, the house of Jacob, because they be replenished from the east, and hearken unto soothsayers like the Philistines, and they please themselves in the children of strangers. But how can the Lord forsake his people? Let's look at what Isaiah is really saying. He says that his people will be replenished from the east. In the LDS footnote, it says that God's people are supplied with teachings or alien beliefs from the east. So, who's in the east? In Isaiah's day, it was Babylon. Can we deny that the Lord's people today also adopt Babylon's teachings and beliefs? And who were the Philistines? They were a country to the west along the coast that produced men like Goliath, that worshipped Baal and tormented the covenant people for generations. Isaiah says that covenant people in the last days will please themselves in the children of strangers. The footnote there says this means they'll make covenants with the children of strangers. And then Isaiah further describes who these latter-day people are. Their land also is full of silver and gold, neither is there any end of their treasures. Their land is also full of horses, neither is there any end of their chariots. By all accounts, the promised land of the last days is the wealthiest nation to ever exist. Truly, there is no end to their treasures, or to their chariots. But then, Isaiah adds, their land is also full of idols. They worship the work of their own hands. Well, what kind of idols do we worship today? Wealth, power, beauty, pleasure, art, entertainment, and much more. So, what's the result of all this? The final verse of this paragraph tells us, And the mean man boweth not down, and the great man humbleth himself not. Once again, the Book of Mormon corrects the King James Version, which says that the mean man, or the ordinary man, does bow down, and that the great man does humble himself, which is both wrong and confusing. So why does the Lord bring such a sweeping indictment against his own people? He does it because he's laying a foundation for what's about to come. Because so many of his people have forsaken him and broken their covenants, he will pronounce a judgment upon them that will astonish them. As we will see next time, the Lord will humble his people in extreme ways, even unto desolation. I'm Curtis Taylor with the Words of Isaiah.